pulled this off beautifully.
Jim.
You know, John was an installer of this. You worked on it. Wasn't that?
I was a skinny guy.
You were an installer 20, however many years ago?
40 years ago.
40 years ago. 40 years ago.
Yeah.
Thank you, Carolyn. Good. What a great celebration to be here 40 years after the dedication of the Granite Trio in 1973. I'd like to just recap a little bit of how this came to be, the creation of it in the quarry, and what we have as a final result. But 40 years ago, actually about 41 years ago, it was decided that the St. Cloud was creating a mall, and that we needed to have a sculpture to actually draw attention as a feature of the mall. So a committee that was actually was initiated by the St. Cloud Community Arts Council, which is now Visual Arts of Minnesota. And that was formed in 1969. Well, that organization created a subcommittee led by my mom, Arlene Helgeson. It included Dixie Elliott and Ed Zapp. I think Ed is here. Ed. Well, they went to work to find an artist that could create a sculpture here in St. Cloud. It took the process. They interviewed over 13 artists and had actually 7 finalists who presented proposals. There was a broader community, a committee of 17 members who overwhelmingly voted in favor of Tony Capone to do the sculpture. That was despite the fact that Tony would not present a model as an idea because he thought a model would be too restrictive. It needed to be free form, and the committee, I think in a leap of faith, had confidence in Tony's ability to do that. So they went ahead with the process. But Tony, just a little background on Tony. Tony was born in Italy in 1929. 21, I'm sorry. 21. He immigrated at the age of 15 to the United States to be with his father. Studied art, various schools, including receiving his master's degree at the University of Minnesota. Tony began teaching art at McAllister, and then within a few years became chair of the art department and continued that role until 1991. At the time, Tony was one of the very few stone sculptors in the United States. He had been working with granite for about 20 years, but Tony said at the time that, even though other stones are easier to carve, he insists on the permanence of granite. And St. Cloud, as a granite city, was one of the reasons that Tony was interested in taking on the project to have granite creation here in St. Cloud. Project moved forward with it was a $10,000 project. I think we got a good deal, Tony. Thank you. So the $10,000, actually, they received a $5,000 matching grant from the State Arts Council. Then $5,000 was raised locally, in addition to a lot of in-kind material and equipment that helped support the project. The creation and the work began in the Diamond Pink Quarry in Rockville, which is owned by Cold Spring Granite. Is there anyone here from Cold Spring Granite today? Well, Cold Spring Granite was very generous in donating actually 2 of the stones, and also space for Tony to work and equipment for Tony to use. And then also at that time, as they were driving out to the Cold Spring Quarry, Tony spotted a large rock out in a field. It was a colorful rock. It was owned by Jerome Zabinski, who donated it and became the jewel stone, which is back here. Is Jerome Zabinski here? Oh, thank you very much. So Tony worked on the 3 stones for about 2 months in the granite quarry, and then the 32 tons of the 3 rocks are transported to their present location, where Tony worked tirelessly late into the night to the pleasure of many onlookers who watched him as he was working. And he mentioned that the Mayor Lair would oftentimes be standing right next to him, but Tony didn't bother to talk to anybody. So after about a week, he hadn't even recognized who the mayor was until it was all done.
No, at unveiling day, I said, we're going to have an unveiling, and I never met the mayor. I'd be embarrassed at the fact that I wouldn't even recognize him. And your mother, Arlene, said, for crying out loud, he was standing by your elbow for weeks. trying to get you to talk to him. Trying to get you to talk to him. So, that's okay. I treat them all the same anyway, so it's okay.
Obviously, Tony was very focused in his work. So so after the trio was brought to the mall, Tony worked on it for about another week. And then the unveiling of the trio took place August 30th, 1973. It was a great celebration attended by many dignitaries, Mayor Lair, who Tony then finally recognized, but also Hubert Humphrey and others. And the unveiling was a result of a parachute that covered the trio and then was removed to the great celebration. That was 30 years ago.
40.
I'm sorry, 40 years ago.
You're making us all younger. This is
Yeah, I really like to think it's only 40 years ago. So what we have today is a permanent feature for all of us to enjoy in terms of the Granite Trio, the Sentinel, the Jewel, and the Castle Rock. And it's a great honor to have this in St. Cloud. This is something that'll always be here. And Tony, as he was quoted at the time as saying, a stone can only reflect what an artist puts into it. And Tony clearly put his heart and soul into this great creation, and we're really honored to have this as part of our future for many generations to come. And I'm happy to present a gift for Tony in commemoration of the day. This is a gift that we thought would be appropriate for Tony, showing a sculpture and working with granite. And again, Tony, thank you very much. I appreciate what you've done. Would you like to stand up?
I'd like you to hold it.
Oh, you want to hold it?
Do you want to stand up to talk to me?
Okay, well, we'll see.
I'll hold that.
Here, I can try to take it.
Yeah.
Hey, Tony, would you like to say a few words?
Well,
If you want to stand up and we'll have the mic, Tony. Is that okay?
yeah, I'm okay standing up. I'm not okay working, carving anything like that anymore. But it's always good to see something more permanent than yourself. The sculpture reflects the energy of the time. I mean, just physically, including physically, but a lot of spiritual. Um, I had an audience never smaller than this. All those windows, oh, excuse me, were filled up there, looking down at this man with just pair of shorts and no shirt, sweating and everything, and paying attention to nobody else. So it was quite an experience for me to produce the work in front of such a nice group and appreciated city. They made available so many tools, vehicles and everything to bring the stones over here and to plant them, which was a big job. That stone over there is down about 15 feet with what do you call it? Railroad ties. So that's not going to move. And it's very, very deep in there. And they came in with a big truck and dumped a lot of concrete in it. At a later time, somebody wanted to make a few changes over here. And Arlene said, "No, you don't. You can't. You can't touch anything around there. Besides, you don't know what's buried in there, how deep it is buried, you know." So she was always there defending me, Arlene, a great person, a great family. And every Christmas, I could expect a picture, the whole family sitting at the top of these stones. And so I seen the whole family growing up by sitting on these stones. You see, I have a handle on the other side of this stone here to encourage people to climb. Quite the opposite of what most sculptor or artists want. Don't mess with my work, don't touch it. And I say, climb it and play with it, you know. Because even as I worked, you know, making it, there was a lot of enjoyment as well. Because I could do whatever I want to. Nobody corrected me, you know. And besides, I didn't talk to anyone that got near me. What else?
What are the three different stones? You wanna...
Three different stones? No, they're the same granite.
What each one is? You got three different...
Well, this one they ended up calling it the Sentinel. This one is the castle. And the other one is a jewel stone because those little facets in there, I think of stones that containing something precious inside. I like to get coarse things, then get inside where I consider the delicate, the finished thing. So everything I carve shows both the softness of stone and the hardness. And granite is a good example for that for me. It fits me. It is hard to carve, but that's why I like it. I like everything that resists. Otherwise, what the hell? What's no use?
Thank you, Tony, very much. We're honored to have you here today. We're honored to have this creation as part of St. Cloud.
Thank you, Tony. There's another person I'd like to recognize, and that's Cheryl Capone. I've only known her for a short while, but I think we're going to become fast friends. Thank you for bringing Tony here. There are quite a few people that I'd like to thank and acknowledge. You know, these things don't come together. I don't know if you're aware or if you watched on Facebook, if you're a Facebooker, but this footing here is part of the sculpture, and it was just restored by Pagotchnik Restoration, Construction, whatever, and they're back there, and they did it in record time and in record heat, so we cannot thank you enough. That lovely dedication piece that was presented to Tony was from Monumental Sales, and they too stepped up and donated that, and they put that together, and I think it's very meaningful, and I hope you enjoy it. I think it's very representative. So
I will keep on enjoying it.
I hope you enjoy
You know
it.
what they say, I don't enjoy it. I left the podium a long time.
Microphone.
Oh, yes. I cannot separate what I see from what I touch. And that's a complete experience with me. If you can see it, you want to touch. Then you see a lot better. But if you haven't touched, you don't see it. Yeah. I suggested that we have a better time when all our senses are involved. Touching it, looking, or even commenting about it.
I'm sure I'll come back to Tony at some point too. There are a few others I'd like to just acknowledge. City of St. Cloud for their work and efforts. I hope you can join us afterwards. We're going to have a light lunch and watch the video, and there's a art display as well to show some of the historic shots that have been collected over the years. DB Searles, Nick's on third floor, has donated the food, and so please join us for that. Hagemeister and Mack put together a rendering. We have to start thinking about the future, how we can use this beautiful sculpture and capitalize on it, and just even make it even better. So what are we going to do? And there's something to get us to start thinking. The Helgeson family has been so wonderful with their support in every way, shape, and form. I mentioned Monumental Sales. Gary Osberg was somebody that got things started and reminded us that, this is very important. It's our 40th anniversary, and I'm so proud to be a part of it. Paramount Theater and Visual Arts, the St. Cloud Convention and Visitors Bureau, the St. Cloud Arts Commission, St. Cloud Floral for providing the plants to just decorate it, make it look a little bit spiffier, television with Jim McAllister, Top Tier Cakes, and Visual Arts Minnesota, and I hope I haven't missed anybody. And then Roy Bernick over here has graced us with this beautiful classic car. I'm learning a little bit about classic cars as well. And Tony and Cheryl will be riding in fine style down to the Paramount. And again, I hope you join us for that. Thank you very, very much for being downtown, for your support. And Tony and the city, congratulations on 40 years.
Somebody had suggested to Tony look at it,
There
right?
was a reason why he saw it in the field.
And then what's the reason?
Well, we had a luncheon meeting, your mom and Dixie and me and Tony, and I said, there's a pretty stone sitting on this rock pile going out towards Pleasant Lake. You ought to take a look at it. And Tony said, well, I said, it's on your way to Rockville. Go ahead and take a look at it.
Yeah.
Well, all of a sudden, Tony spotted this stone out of the field. You know what I mean? It's just miraculous. He was just driving by.
Just happened to see this one that somebody was pointing to.
It's amazing.
Wow, that was cool.
That was nice because I said, they're over there now.
Yeah, they're over on the other side. Yeah, Zabinski's, yeah.
Yes, it is.
This is John Petter is going to tell a little story about there's a special feature in here, and I think he had a part because John was the
innocent observer.
Well, you were kind of the runner, the
I
gopher.
was the hired hand, yeah.
The gopher, right?
Yeah. I'm the one that got along with them.
Yeah. I think he had gone through 2 or 3 other others before you, so he appreciated it. But anyway, let's look at the.
Okay.
What does look?
So this thing here. So as I remember, Tony was standing there with your mom. This was like this, and Tony was leaning on it, and Arlene was flirting with Tony. And she said something about there should be an owl. And so the next day, when she came out, Tony got his, I believe it was a Time Life book, and he said, how about this? And he started drawing it in there, and so that is your mom's special owl.
And she,
That is-
so that's her.
that's her
suggestion to Tony.
Yeah.
But you don't tell Tony much, so that's quite a.
I remember that very well. Very well. So that's kind of your mom's special deal.
Found this came from your yard. And they said in here to cover that gap. I never knew that. Jim McAllister had heard the story from Mom. And
I came down here with her and we were talking about the Granite Trio because I was going to go video record Anthony 10 years ago. And when we were standing there, your wife Arlene said, you know, that rock's from our yard.
That's news to me too. I didn't know that. What kind of car is this?
It's a Franklin dual bill, and there's only 3 of them left in existence.
You're getting the picture taken.
Thank you for doing this.
Well, I learned a lot about the Granite Trio today, things that I really didn't know that it incorporated, and that's children and feeling art and having it speak to them. I was down here a few years ago with my kids. It was the first time that they had seen the Granite Trio, and my daughter Sina, who was 5 at the time, ran to the trio and started climbing on it. And I freaked out. Sina, get off the art. It's meant to sit back and look and enjoy. And she looked at me and she said, no, Mom, I'm supposed to climb on it. And I was so angry. I told her to get off and I made her sit back and enjoy that stone. And now learning today that it was the right reaction that she had of, that's what it's meant for. It's meant for me to climb on and feel it and enjoy it. And now I can't wait to bring my kids back down here again so that they can get more personal with the Granite Trio.
My name is Heidi Larson, and I didn't grow up in St. Cloud because my mom was a farmer, but my dad, all of his history is here. My family came from Sweden in 1882, and my great-great-grandfather worked in the granite mines.
So tell me about your relationship with the Granite Trio and why it's important to you and your family.
Oh, well, I have to start out that I got to see it when I was 3 with my grandmother. So I, toe in hand with my grandmother, we were walking to the public library, and we got to see it. It has a lot of memories for me because of my great-great-grandfather working in the granite mines. When he was talking about how he formed the stone and the stone told him, stones do connect with us. So beautiful, and I just thank Anthony. Definitely. I'm so touched by today. So thank you.
This is the diamond pink stone
This is
that
the
part of the
Okay.
trio is made out of. And then this is from the same field that the other stone was extracted from the
that's-
farmer's field.
Well, that's really nice to know.
So it's
They brought, see?
all part
Yeah.
of the granite now. the
Right,
Granite Trio that we
right.
have with you.
That's wonderful.
This is more than I expected from anyone or any source, but I really appreciate it and apologize for accepting. I'm very happy to accept it, and I think it took a lot of efforts to make it ready, and it's substantial, and I feel flattered. I feel, but all I can say, I'm surprised and pleased, more pleased and surprised.